Good evening and welcome. Welcome to my live stream, Fight CPS and Stop Taking Our Children. I'm your host, Bob Pace. I'm on three times a day at 8 a.m. in the morning, 1 p.m. in the afternoon, and again 6 p.m. in the evening. Those times are all on Pacific Daylight Time. We switched over this past weekend from um, Standard Time. Now we're on Daylight Time. So we sprung ahead an hour. And that was in the middle of the night on, I think, from Saturday to Sunday. Anyway, I'm glad that you found this place. There are 7 Facebook pages and 1 YouTube that link up to this, to my live stream here. I'm using StreamYard to transmit this, and I use Vonage for my phone system. But right now, I can't work both on one device. Good news. I've been telling you about my computer all along. They say that the part should be in 3 more days. 3 more days. So hopefully before this weekend, I'll be fully operational where I'd be able to have people call in and talk on my phone. And then on my computer, I'll work StreamYard. So that's how it will work. Right now, if you call in, I have to turn StreamYard off for a moment and come back to you. If I want to look something up, I have to turn StreamYard off to look it up. It can't run 2 applications at the same time on the phone. Now, maybe the computer, if I figure it out, can. I don't know. I have my phone hooked up to my computer, but I can see calls come in, but I don't know if you can talk on the computer to a phone and then also have StreamYard work in the background. I'm just exploring it. Someone told me some good news. I'm trying to set up so that my picture, well, shoot, that's not working right. Boy. Okay, I'm back. You have to be careful using the phone and the application because my fingers are so big. I used to play football. I still love football, but I have big digitals. And so, anyway, I'm glad that you're here. We have some people already. All right. We have, wow, we have my friend David. I'm so glad. I've been bragging about you all week long. Wow, look at all these people we got in here. We have Jessica. Um, Hi, I don't think we met before. I usually ask people to give me a name, and I guess I can use Jessica. And where you located? What city and state or country, if you're from a country? And I know who David Hilago is. And hello, David, and warm welcome. And I'm so thrilled about your news. Maybe give me an update. David was one of those individuals that came here to my room for help. Eventually, I was able to connect him up with Vincent Davis. And he hired Vincent Davis, and Vincent Davis, my attorney, who helped me, and he helped win David's case. His case was a tough one. He's from Santa Maria, Santa Barbara County, investigated it. His in-laws and I guess relatives, family members were saying things that weren't true about him and his daughter. That's sad because David's had lost his wife. I don't know what happened there, but he has a son and a 10-year-old girl he's trying to raise. And he sounds like a really super dad, but he really, he sacrificed a lot to bring her back. That's one thing monetarily, CPS is not cheap. And that's sad because I know down the road, if I had my way, I would be before Congress talking to the representatives and senators how bad CPS has been the last 20 years. They were started in the early 60s. An act of Congress asked social services to create a group of social workers to protect our children from neglect and abuse. But it has transpired through all the years. Now they found that it's a money-making business, and now they send it's $1 trillion business, and they send billions to the state, and from the state they send out millions to each of the counties. Every state has counties. California has 50. North Carolina has 100. I don't know what all the states and counties are, but every one of those will have a CPS system. That's what I call CPS. In Orange County, which is my county, it is called the CPS, Child Protection Services. In LA, it's called the Department of Children and Family Services. Hold on one second, please. Hold on one second. Let me see here. Okay, I am. Um, I'm back here. I had a little minor interruption. I'm broadcasting this, by the way, from Surf City, USA. It's south of Los Angeles. I'm on the beach. I'm 3 blocks from the ocean, and it's in California. So I'm on the West Coast. So it's West Coast time for all of you. But going back to David, he had a tough one. I remember he called in and he was so discouraged. I told him to hang in there. I said, Dave, I said, um, Vince Davis, good man, but sometimes he spreads himself too thin. He's trying to help everybody. He's like me trying to help everybody. It's also expensive hiring an attorney. Now, he's not the most expensive attorney, but he's expensive. And I know where money is. Anywhere from $200 to $1,000 an hour is what attorneys are. Anywhere from $2,500 retainer to $10,000 retainer to start out with. And Vincent's in the middle. I mean, he's $5,000 for LA County as a retainer and $550 an hour. But it depends on your case, how long it's been going on, the complexity, and how far you away. If you're up in Wisconsin, it's $125,000 to start off with. And anyway, we can get those prices. We can talk about them and how to finance them. But anyway, David, I'm so glad here. And Jessica says, no worries. You're good, 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 good. And David is saying hello again. All right. And Michael Ryan. Now, Michael, I believe, is from, let me see if I get this right, from Tennessee. But Michael Ryland is actually Sheila because Rook is Ryan. I don't know why they switch me. They get me confused. But Michael is actually the mom of the relationship. And David says, thank you. I need to put these so people can see them so I don't have to read them so much. And a new person called Colfax. Are you in relation to the Happy Feet from Arizona, the Indian that calls in? Coldfoot or Colfax? Welcome to you. I'll call you Cole. I guess that's your name. I need help, but I hope I have no dollars for another attorney. I know what to do. Well, I got some solutions for you. I will help you. I've been targeting the system. I believe it. And when I wrote the Board of Supervisors, they intentionally harmed my case. Well, I got news for you. I don't know where you're located, but there is no Board of Supervisors or Board of Directors that watchdog CPS. They're allowed to run wild. They are wild. I wouldn't say it's all bad, but a lot of them are. It's a hit and miss. It's a hit and miss. I used to give percentages, but I have to stop that because I don't have enough facts to support it. So I don't know whether it's 25% bad, 50-50. I don't know. All I know is I've talked to 2,600 people from around the world, 30 countries and all 50 states. And the common thing they always say, CPS is bad and the police is bad. So if that's the case, I have a 100% record there, but there's more than 2,500 people in the world. But I will get back to you, Cold. All I need to know is your name. Do you want me to call you? And then the city and the state or the country. Now, David says CPS is a powerful entity. Oh, I agree about that. That acts with impunity and answers to no one. Oh, that is well said, David. That's well said. This is powerful and abusive arm of the government desperately needs oversight. Well, that's what we have, Doge. I don't know if any of you know about Doge, but the Department of Government Efficiency was started by Trump as one of his campaign promises. The problem with our President Trump right now, he made all these campaign promises. He's trying to do it, but he's maxing out at the extreme. He doesn't want any more wars in this world. He wants no more drugs in this world. He wants no more crime in this world. So he's cleaning up house. He's cleaning up the Middle East. He's cleaning up the countries in Africa. He's cleaning up the countries in Central America. I mean, he is on the march. He's on the move. And he gets radical there. But he's also closed our borders. You have to go and apply the right way to come in. you can't come in if you have a crime or you commit. We've had so many millions of people for the last 4 years get in here that they've all gone to the north part of North America. They're living there. They have kids now and families. And what's happened is that they're all being rounded up because it's hard to tell you. They don't have proof. They're illegal. We don't know if they're good guys or bad guys. And some people have been killed. And I don't know why anybody wants to go to march. I know it's your free rights to march. I remember the 60s, and we used to march on Washington, D.C. I never partaked in it. Not because I didn't want to. I went to Woodstock. I thought that was tame. I didn't do the drugs there, but I enjoyed the music, enjoyed the people and the hippies. But, I have a really extensive background. I'm a 76-year-old dinosaur, if you haven't guessed. And I try to keep myself young and feel young. You know, biological, I think I'm 56. But numerical, I'm 76. See, there's those two age differences. So, anyway, David, we have DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency, and Musk started that job, but he had to quit after 6 months because it was a temporary job. Everybody thought he was fired. No, he wasn't fired. And he wanted to get $1 trillion saved those first 6 months. He got it, instead of $1 trillion, he got 1 million saved. And I think it's been close to $1 billion now that they've saved. People that were getting checks are dead. People that made $100,000 were getting food stamps. It was crazy. So that's what's investigating. They're also investigating CPS. I know they're doing it in Orange County. And they should have an oversight, David. That is so neat. Okay, Cole is saying, stop allowing me any visits, whatever, for over 5 years. That's wrong. There's two things that CPS do outrageously wrong. One, they take your children when they're not in danger or when there's not anything that would harm them. Two, they play with your visits. They shortchange them. They do Zoom visits. I mean, they've messed up your visits. Like now, David's won his case. He's trying to start the visits, but the daughter has been so ruined by the family members. See, the family members made up stories that are proven wrong. And Mr. Davis proved to the court that David was innocent and that his daughter should be returned because the best parents are the biological parents, not foster care. Now, I'm not against foster care, but there's so many bad foster care they're abusing. I've met about 3 or 4 foster care and on here, and all of them are good, the ones I meet. But then I had foster care with my kids, and they were harmed. They were neglected and harmed. I know firsthand. I was involved. I had my kids taken from me for no reason in 2015, and I had to hire an attorney. Only problem is I tried to fight it myself like most of you are doing. I got nowhere, frustrated, and so I quick sold my home and got the money to hire Mr. Davis. I had some weird stuff. I had what's called a predatory loan, and this predatory lender gave me a credit line on top of my loan line. I mean, I had double loan. And I said, well, why do I need a credit line? I just have this loan. So, oh, we will need it in case of emergency. You're not being charged anything until you start to use it. Boy, is that tempting. It is so tempting. I had a $650,000 loan and a $150,000 credit line. So I was fine. I could pay my property taxes. They were $12,000 every 6 months, $24,000 a year in property taxes. But I was making a nice income. So, but the loan was a predatory loan, meaning that they took my salary and doubled it illegally. And that was countrywide. I had to sue Bank America, my own bank, to get turtles back from it. I beat Bank America, but they settled. You win things, but it's only at settlements. I mean, you can't afford to keep fighting Bank America to the end. And just the other day, I settled a wrongful termination and got a settlement on a wrong termination. But I find out that there's a lot of lawyers out there for 50% of what they get, they'll give it to you. I mean, they'll help defend you. So it's all creative financing and help there, but I do want to help you. I do want Cole to get more visits. And let me see, David says, my retainer was $25,000. Okay, so David had a high retainer. And, I'm glad you shared that, David, because people can David's in Santa Barbara County, maybe because of the distance or maybe because of the complexity of the case. David had a hard case. He had the police in there that 1 minute saying that he was guilty, not guilty. David would explain his case. His case is one of the hardest cases I ever heard. And so I know that that's a lot of money there. But believe me, I bet David, nothing's worth your children. My case cost me probably over $300,000, and on top of that, I probably spent another million. And I lost my favorite home. I had a $1 million home; it's gone, and all that. I didn't have much equity in it because, like a fool, I used my credit line, so I was maxed on that, maxed on my first, maxed on my second, and I was paying it, but it was expensive. It was about $5,000 a month. I was put ahead to a first, a second, and taxes. Of course, my rates back there were cheap: 2% on the first and 3% on the second. So that wasn't too bad, I guess, compared to now. Okay, Jessica is back here in the picture, and if I'm a little slow, I'm trying to catch up. I've been on your chat previous time. Great, Jessica. You need help because my ex is in an narcissus, and an ex-deputy sheriff. Oh, I think I remember you for the Los Angeles County. I've been on supervised visits for almost 10 years now, and I always just represented myself, which was the worst thing I could have done. Yeah, I understand there. There's so much more than how my ex influenced my case. Well, yeah, I agree with that. Was your ex a sheriff? I can't remember. Yes, he is an ex-deputy sheriff. I hate to say it, not all policemen are bad, but the ones I met in my case were bad. I don't know about David's sheriffs, the county sheriffs in Santa Barbara, but I know the CPS is bad. Jessica says, I've always just represented myself, which is the worst thing I could have done. There's so much more than how my ex influences my case. Oh, wow. That is so good. And Colfax, I guess, doesn't have any place to tell me where they live. Okay, Cole, I'll try to help you. No relation. Oh, I was just being silly about Happy Feet. I was being silly because, you don't see too many names called Happy Feet or Krilla. Felicia is called Krilla. So everybody has funny names here, and it's hard. Yours is Los Angeles, California, Cold. Okay, great. Glad to have you. I want to help you. Jessica, I still don't remember. I guess yours was LA County. The side parties decide my ex is already remarried, and he constantly, every week of the years in the past 10, still looks for me. He's stalking you. If you have anybody stalking, we have Lisa Bryan in here. She'll tell you about stalking. Her ex-husband's still stalking her. I told her to get a restraining order. And then you have your day in court and you prove the guy's you're stalking. You take pictures, and if you repeat, you need to do a restraining order. Now, when you guys do a restraining order, all it takes is you got to complain, and then you got so many days to appear in court to prove your case. And you can get a restraining order. You can get a restraining order. Yes, I know how you feel there, Jessica. I really do. Oh, the last paragraph was me. It's okay. We are all emotional in here. I want you all to feel comfortable, and I'm so thrilled I have something to talk about. It seems the last couple of shows I just talked and talked and talked and talked. I was putting myself to sleep about the same things over and over and over. Tonight, you guys have made my day. You give me something to work on here and solve, and that's what I do best. I'm a problem solver. You have a problem about anything, I'll help you. I have 61 years of life skill. I've done many jobs in my life. I have an extensive background, and I can certainly help you with a lot of areas. But here, we're dealing with what's called the child protection system, the government entity that protects from neglect and abuse. But how they report it and how they protect it is awful when you hear some of the stories. I have the pink ladies in Prescott, Arizona that wore T-shirts with stencil on the front. They're professional child kidnappers. And on the back, they put, do you know where your parents are at? It's a true story. Prescott, Arizona is the home of the Billy Jack movies. That was a period of time in our history in the 60s that the American A movement was really prevalent. And his movie was all about protecting kids and the Native American Indians. And he was a wonderful actor and creator there. And his wife, they did it, and they had an Indian school for kids. And a lot of it was factional. Also in 69, we had the A March on Washington, D.C. In 73, we had another Wounded Knee battle. Oh my goodness, the Lakota Sioux were really beside themselves. They had I don't know how many days it was, but it was something like 73 days. They killed one of the Indians. And that brought it to conclusion. But the Wounded Knee was terrible. The first Wounded Knee was just as bad. I don't know if you guys study history, but the first Wounded Knee is that old men, ladies, and children were murdered by the 7th Cavalry in retaliation for what Crazy Horse and City Bull did to General Armstrong Custer and the 7th Cavalry. That was the only battle that the U.S. lost to Indians. That's the only battle the Indians won. I mean, there's been a lot of good Indian tribes out there: the Comanche, the Apache, the Cheyenne, and the Lakota Sioux. Those are your top 4. I think the Okacha or something, or the Mohawk or something, is the number 5, the most warrior type tribes. But people forget that the Native American Indians are the first immigrants. They came here. Columbus never set foot in North America. Now, maybe you might call the Caribbean island that he set foot on is North America. I don't know. That's stretching it to me. I don't know. I think it's more part of Central America, but I don't know. But anyway, for a long time into the 60s, Columbus was the man. He was the man. But it really was the Vikings were the first Europeans to discover North America. They discovered Iceland and Greenland, and they actually had a settlement up there in Maine for a short period of time, but they couldn't stand the hostiles there, the indigenous people there. And so the Vikings left and went back to Iceland and Greenland. That was Leif Erikson, for all your history buffs there. But that was way back in, 1000 AD. We didn't start hitting the country to the 1500s. There was a settlement in 1590 something, but we've had about 400 years. We had that settlement, I think it's called Crocotoc Island, and then there was Plymouth Rock, and then Jamestown. There's been a lot of settlements there and a lot of child abuse over the years. So that went in there too. So what was the error you did there, Jessica? Colfax says, Jessica, that's what they did to me. They kept me having monitored visits for 10 years. I never missed a visit or a court date. Then they immediately stopped visits in 2020 with no contact whatsoever. Colfax says, I still have my rights, and they haven't respected them at all. Wow. I was in foster care till I was 16, so you were a child brought up in the system, and that brings up a good point. When you're emancipated, did anybody tell you to go to them and have your records purged? If you don't, CPS will follow you. CPS will haunt you. Any of you. And for instance, David Halago, if you don't forget, make sure your records expunged. If you're found not guilty, or as a child you're in the system and then you're emancipated out of the system, you need to have your records cured. I have a lady named Faye in Kentucky, Richmond, Kentucky. She's a sweet lady, but she was abused by her mother, and she loved her mother still, but she was also abused in foster care. She was given punishments by standing on sharp rocks. She was sex trafficking as a teenager. She was raped. I could go on and tell you, it's a horrible story. But today, I'm happy to say that she's recovered. She's got a nice place to take care of her son. She lost her daughter because the CPS was so corrupt they made her choose between her son and her daughter. Her son needs special needs, and she's dedicated to her life to take care of her son, but she's frailing. She's in her 40s, but she's falling bad. And it's sad because she's a wonderful woman. She's a great cook, and she comes on my show. She was a co-host for a while. And I do talk to her. I do see her. She's on Facebook. She's one of my regulars, but that's Faye. And I'm telling you, make sure you guys get yourself cleared up. If you're once in foster care or once in CPS, you're 18 and older, you need to have your records expunged. If you don't know how to do it, you need to talk to an attorney. And that also goes for other criminal matters. If you have criminal matters as a juvenile, when you turn 18, you need to start all over. They have ways that people start all over. I think 7 years is the longest time they can keep a bankruptcy on. You need to talk to the statute of limitations. Some crimes stay on forever. But if you have a crime there, you can get removed, you get it expunged. Again, that takes attorney. Again, that takes money. So anyway, Cole says she was in foster care to 16 and then emancipated. They led me down this pipeline. Well, I know they probably did, Cole. That is so hard to hear that. And Rocky. Oh, I know Rocky. He's from Pennsylvania, but he moved to New York. Am I right, Rocky? Am I right? I think Rocky is trying to help his brother, who's in Virginia, that was wrongly accused. So confirm that, Rocky. Cold, who's from Los Angeles, says, I want to sue him. You certainly can. If your case is over and you no longer have a CPS case, that's one of the things that Vincent does. He will sue, and he'll sue your case. But it sometimes costs money to sue. Sometimes it costs money to sue. And your kids, I've had no contact. My kids are extremely affected by the parent alienation. I'm targeted by the LAPD. Whoa. Well, I know that LA County CPS is called the Department of Children and Family Services, DCFS. And the LAPD, I've heard pros and cons about how bad they are. I have some friends who are LPD. But I can imagine that it seems like in all police agencies and all CPS, there are bad entities. It's sad. There's bad entities everywhere in life. There's bad entities. We don't need the criminals coming here, the full-on, full-time 24/7, but there are people that are tempted. And these people that are tempted are doing sins. And you know what? They'll never go to heaven. Anybody that doesn't repent their sins or doesn't pray or believe in God is not going to go to heaven. And a lot of you say, I don't care about heaven. Well, I think I do. I want to go to heaven. I certainly don't want to go to hell. But we're not here to talk about religion, and I respect all religions. I sometimes put all religions together. Okay, and Michael from Tennessee. Sheila is a Cherokee. Maybe I have you confused, Rylan. Michael Rylan, are you the couple? One is Rylan that you guys were going from Michigan. Oh, wait a second. There was a couple. That's what it was. From Ohio to Michigan, and you went to sleep in the parking lot, and the police came out the next day and arrested you and stuff. I don't think so. Michael is a friend of Aaron. That's what it is. Michael and Aaron are not together, but Aaron is because my daughter's name is Aaron, and I like that name, Aaron. But Michael and Aaron are from Tennessee. But you're a Cherokee. Now, it's very important for all of you that have Indian blood because there's something called ICWA. ICWA is called the Indian Child and Welfare Act, and it was incorporated in 1978. And what it does basically, it says anybody that's an Indian or related to an Indian or part Indian are allowed to have the CPS matter handled by the tribe on a reservation with an Indian family. So if there's a CPS case, the CPS must ask, are you a Native American Indian? Or related to Native American Indian? You don't have to be full-blooded and you don't have to be 100%. Some Indians require to be 25%. I think in the United States, there's 50 to 100,000 left of true American Indians, true blood. That's all. It's sad. They're being inseminated. And it wasn't to the ICWA Act of 1978, the Indian Child Welfare Act, that they stopped taking their children. Their children were taken from the 1870s or 60s into 1978 with no questions asked. Their hair was cut. They were stripped out of their Indian clothes and not allowed to talk the language, not allowed the culture. And they were forced into private schools, and some were religious schools. And they were stripped of their identity, and they never got to return. So it was from 1875 to 1875 to 1975, the American Indians and don't have children, and the children would grow up, and it was terrible. It was terrible what was happening. Any child or any family that was interfered by CPS were, if they were Indian, it was doomsday for them. And I'm sad to say that one of the poorest areas to live on is where my heritage is, the Rosebud Reservation. Yes, I'm a Lakota Sioux, 25% proud of it. Yeah, I don't look like a Lakota Sioux, but I have a warrior blood in me. And my grandfather is a Lakota, excuse me, my grandfather is a Viking from Bergen, Norway. And so I have, 25% um, Viking blood in me, 25 Lakota Sioux, and then I got some Scottish blood in me from my other part of my family, 25% Scottish, and then I have 25% of mix. I think there's English and other stuff in there. But anyway, um, uh, Rosebud Reservation is so poor. I mean, there's three reservations around each other. There's the Oglala Sioux has their Standing Rock Reservation, and then to the west is another reservation, the Pine. I think it's a Pinewood. It's Pine something reservation. But those three reservations in South Dakota, you see, the Lakota Sioux are from the Black Hills. That's their land, and they've never given it up. Even when the American government offered money to repay them for a broken treaty and stuff, they refused to accept the money. They said they're never going to give up the Black Hills. The Black Hills 100% belong to the Lakota Sioux, along with Mount Rushmore. Everything you see in the Black Hills belongs to Lakota Sioux. And that's back in the days of Sitting Bull and Crazy Horse. Those were big Indian chiefs that were notable. But anyway, I'm not here to talk about Indian history, but we have an Indian here, or several Indian. We have Michael says he's Cherokee. And I think Cole said she's got some Indian blood. There, Cole does. Cole further says, no one ever told me that ever. And they did follow me and target me. Well, you can get a restraining order and you need to look into it and look it up. David says, what does David say now? Oh, brother, I hit some button here. I'm having a worse time sometimes on this phone. Okay, David Halago from Santa Maria, California. I'll be very honest, and that's good, David. You always have been to me. You need a good lawyer and you have to spend money. That is a very well true statement. You need a good lawyer and you have to spend money. Vincent Davis has 40 years of fighting CPS. He is the number one attorney I'd recommend anybody to get. He is expensive, but he's not as expensive as all attorneys, and he's not at the high end. And he will do more than ever to help you. He has lots of shows that he's on. He does a lot of free time. He spreads himself thin. He spreads himself thin. David's right. The court system is broken. There's no justice. The juvenile court, the police, and CPS, and you said something about forensic investigators. I understand that. Yes, David, that is so true. And hopefully you all are reading this with me. By the way, I have emojis if anybody wants a smiley face or a heart or a thumbs up or send me stars. I'll love to see it. Emojis are nice. Well, we have four of you in the room, and I think I know who the four is. There's probably others because even though you're in the room, unless you do any texting, your name doesn't show up. I've been finding that out. People, I could have 20, 30, 40 people I don't know. All I know is I have four people participating in chat. And that's great. I'm glad you're here. And hopefully I'm answering your questions. Yes, David, they all lie. I think it's the number one sadness in the whole world. People do lie. Lying does not good because the end it's going to come out. It's going to come out to haunt you. Yeah, Rocky used to be in Pennsylvania from New York, and he has a brother in Virginia. I know you, Rocky. David says, I was never arrested or charged, just CPS pushing false allegations based on um, um, Jay Step. pushing false allegations. Well, I think it's also the in-laws were part of it. And your brother in Virginia, right? Good, Rocky. Oh, you never lived in Pennsylvania. Somehow I had you. You're another guy from has a name named Rocky something there. And Cole says, David, this is to you. Yes, I know that always is the best, but I spent all my little savings on a private attorney in the beginning. So now I have a free one, and he's worse against me. Yeah, let me tell you about attorneys. I divide attorneys into four types. Four types, I think, are they on there? Or three types. One is your paid attorney. One is your court appointed attorney or public defender. And the third one is your pro bono attorney. The missing part of the puzzle of attorneys is you need an attorney who is trained in dependency law, family law, and juvenile, who has actually fought CPS and won cases. That's the kind of attorney you need. But you got to pay money for them. The court appointed attorneys, the public defenders, will lead you on terrible. They are not trained in those areas. They were just hired by CPS. They're fresh out of law school, and they only give you 5 minutes in the hallway. They don't have enough time because CPS loads them up with cases, and they may have 25 or 50 cases. That's too much for one person to handle. And they only talk to you 5 minutes. So I was pulling my hair out when I used a court appointed attorney. She was bad. Nice lady, but she didn't fight for me. She kept trying to compromise. They always want to settle. They always want to settle. They don't want to help solve the problem, or if they made a mistake, they don't want to dare admit they make a mistake. When you go to CPS, you're like Alice in Wonderland. You fell in the rabbit hole, you met the Cheshire Cat, and you're in for a time ride going from room to room to room to go nowhere. You're going to go nowhere. Why? CPS lies. They commit perjury when they're testifying. They steal. They steal money. In fact, they abuse children when they're picking them up or having car seats. I've heard of some terrible stories that social workers have done to children, not only foster care, but social workers. Yes, children are abused. Yes, children are neglected. But it's stupid when you have an organization that's supposed to do it right and they don't do it right. It's really bad. And when you have someone come to the door, never open it, never answer it. Too many things that weird have happened lately. People are killed. A lady is shot 5 times in the face in LA. A man answered the door, shot 5 times in the chest in Florida, Gainesville, Florida. Another lady is shot by 2 officers, and you would think that 10 bullets would be enough to bring her down. She had a lot of psychological issues, but she just opened the door and she was blown away. I mean, we have problems right now with illegal aliens blowing people away. Why do we have the police doing it? Excessive holes. I mean, yes, there are good policemen and bad policemen, and I'm talking about the bad policemen. But that's all I see or talk to. I'd love a policeman to call into my show. I've only had one good social worker call me into the show. I've had 3 or 4 foster moms call in, and they were all right. They're all right, but a lot of them have been bad. A lot of it bad. They abused my children and they did bad things to them. Where are we? We're 38 minutes. Okay. Add David, yes, this is from Cole Fax saying to David, I know that always is the best, but I spent all my ill saying. You probably went on a private attorney that wasn't schooled in the area of dependency law, juvenile law, or family law. And the free one is, you can't, what you need to do with the free attorneys, you take the court appointed or the free attorneys, you tell them, I know you work for CPS, but right now you work for me. And I want you to fight my case. And if you don't fight my case, I will call the state bar up in Sacramento, this is for California, and report your license will be removed. I report that you are negligent in your duties. Negligent in your duties. Furthermore, I will sue you. I will sue you in civil court for the damages you've caused me. Now, either you perform or I get another one. And you guys got to understand that in the courthouse, there's a public defender office or the court appointed attorney's office. You knock on the door and say, I don't like my attorney. I want somebody else. It's your constitutional right to be defended. If one attorney doesn't work, you may have to go through 10 attorneys. They're going to try to say no. But people don't know the law. And here I will help you. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not giving legal advice. I'm giving advice that's called educational of how to fight CPS and get around the system and get your kids back. As far as the technically about laws and those things, leave it up to the lawyers like Vincent Davis. Like Vincent Davis. I believe you, Cole. I believe you. You say no one will believe the stuff that's done. I've never heard of a story like mine. Believe me, I've heard your story probably 10 times. If I hear the whole story there. Thank you, David. Good point. Pray to God with him and all is possible. Yes, I agree. And Michael from Tennessee. Oh, that wasn't you? You're not Michael from Tennessee? Are you from Ohio or Missouri? Michael, you said right. I'm reading it slow, so I maybe lose things. Cole says to David, yes, they all are lies, evils. Yes, Cole, I understand that. Cole says you have to be registered, though. Right, to be an Indian, you have to be federally registered. But that's not hard. You just go and look up federally registered tribes, and then you find out where the tribe's located, and you tell the chief, the person in charge, I am an Indian. These are my relatives. This is where I was born, and blah, blah, blah. You have to prove, and you get registered, and then the Indian tribe will take care of your child. They'll put them with another Indian family and have a rehab going, not some stupid social worker that wants to disseminate the Indian children into nothing. Yes, they have. They have changed ethnicities because they've changed categories in the census as black. Well, you know, there's okay, ethnicity is divided in two ways. There's your color, white, Caucasian, black. I think Negro is that. I don't like using the word Negro. And then there is yellow, which is Asian. There's red, which is Indian. I think I covered the colors. Well, that's one part of ethnicity. The other is your race. Where are you from? Where are your roots? You could be a white African from Africa. There are people born in Africa that are white. There are people that are born around the world that are white. And people that are born black around the world. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you could be considered a Polynesian as an ethnicity, Native American Indian, an Eskimo. Okay. The Indians are divided three parts in North America. The First Nation people are the Canadian Indians. In North America, it's called the Native American Indian. And in Alaska, they're called Eskimos. But they have their own roots, their own names. So it's really it gets really confusing and hard. But there are black Lakota Sioux. There are yellow. I mean, I don't know if I ever heard of a yellow Lakota Sioux. I don't know if any Asians grew up as a small child or were born by a Lakota Sioux mother or father. But anyway, now I'm getting off my track here. Okay, she's from Australia. You're an Aboriginal. That's from Australia. It's like the Polynesians. In New Zealand, they're called Maoris, or sometimes referred to as the All Blacks. You have no registration, but you could get registration. If you have pictures and stories and books from your grandmother, you might be able to. I've been still searching for my great grandmother. I have her white man's name. I actually have a picture and my grandfather in an Indian outfit and my great grandfather with his handlebar blonde mustache from Bergen, Norway. I mean, I'm trying to do DNA to see how much you're in there. One way you can do ancestry.com, and I'm not trying to give a factum. I have to be careful. You're not supposed to endorse things here. Um, Cold says, who's from Los Angeles, California, I basically had a nervous breakdown. To immediately stop my visits like that, I lost myself. I can't believe it. Everybody, David was pulling his hair out at times. He was talking to me all through his trial. David's one individual that I've seen from the start, and he's still coming here. He's still coming here. David is a really cool guy. In fact, he told me he's going to join me when we go before Congress. My goal is to keep at this and someday go before the House of Senators and Representatives, sort of like what Nancy Schaefer was doing in Georgia. Of course, she was murdered. So that doesn't make me feel too good that I could be murdered that want to stand up for fairness in the CPS system. But I know I have a lot of listeners, 2,600, that will certainly pack Congress to back me up. And that's all we need to do is have a hearing before Congress and tell them the who's the pro con. Tell them about the pink ladies wearing T-shirts embraced on the front, professional child kidnappers, and on the back. When you know where your children are at, and they parade around in the public. I mean, that is ridiculous. I mean, they used my daughter. My daughter's with me not because we won the case, because she was talked into divorcing her parents. You know, in the state of California, you can divorce your parents at age 12 for any reason you want. All you need is someone to help you. And what do you think the social worker did? The CASA. You all heard of the CASA, the court appointed service advocate that sits there and is supposed to be your friend, but actually listen ears for CPS. And the judge coached my daughter. And on top of that, they're using them as a billboard for CASA's videos on YouTube. I happened to see my daughter, and I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I could not believe it. And there was a judge beating his chest. The judges are corrupt. My judge in court knew all about car accidents and car damages, but knew nothing about dependency law, nothing about family law. He was a joke. And the sad part is these judges are elected officials. Every time we have elections, make sure you concentrate on the judge more than any other person, because they're going to determine if you ever see them in court. Judges are elected officials. You need to find one that is good to be a judge. So anyway, I need to look down and get behind here. Cold says, my paid attorney was complicit with CPS, which is a conflict of interest. They moved my case to LA County from Lancaster because the judge there allowed me reunification. Well, Lancaster is in LA County, but it's a satellite. So they do have a satellite CPS office, as the other one in Monterey Park. I think it's Monterey Park and Lancaster are the two, maybe a third one. I know the county of Orange is in the city of Orange. San Bernardino is downtown San Bernardino. There's one in Riverside. And then San Diego. It's hard sometimes knowing where there are. Cole says, what about the city representatives, the judge, when they are corrupt? Well, you can go to the Sacramento and get their license removed. You can make a complaint. No one is excused. Anybody can be charged. You look at President Trump. How many times was he impeached? How many times has he been tried? How many times he's been in court? Anybody can sue anybody. Everybody can charge anybody. I mean, and CPS gets away with it. You filed a Marston hearing to deny it. I'm so sorry to hear that, Colfax. And for some of you who don't know what a Marston hearing is, that's another thing. You guys are very educational in this room tonight. I really like it. And Michael's from Tennessee. He confirms me. Him and Aaron are the two people from Tennessee. Aaron comes in too. And I'm glad to see you, Michael. And he's a Cherokee. And Rocky is, he's colored brown. Okay. I don't want you guys to tell me your color because it makes no difference. I'm colorblind. I'm also racial blind. I don't care what race you are. I'll give you a fair shake. I'm so trusting of people. I care about every one of those. Cole says, I've had so many random attorneys that haven't even familiarized themselves. Well, with an attorney, when you pick an attorney, It's a tough process. It's a tough process. Your first step is to ask two important questions. Question one, are you trained and educated and have experience in the areas of dependency law, family law, and juvenile law, and have won CPS cases? If the answer is yes, question two, have you ever, after your case is over, have you ever sued CPS and won? The answer is yes. Then you got a candidate, but that doesn't stop there. That means you meet with them. Now, I've already told you Vincent Davis's fees and where he is located and what he can do, but you still need to call him. And by the way, the office hour for the office is 888-888-6582. Make sure when you call the office, you say Bob Pace, you talk to Bob Pace, and when you speak to Mr. Davis, you tell him Bob Pace sent you. He will talk to you. The other day, one of you called him and he talked to you and he gave a price, but it was too much the guy could afford. But, you know, stick with your court appointed attorney or public defenders, but make them work. Make them follow suit. Make them follow suit. Colfax themselves with the case. A few of them have literally told me that the judge was against me for some reason. Well, yeah, judges are dumb. Not all judges are dumb. Not all CPS is bad. Not all police are bad. But we certainly have enough in there. And 2,600 people have said they're bad. So, you know, I can't say it's 100% bad. I can't even say 50% bad. I started to do that. And then I started saying, well, that's kind of silly talk. Well, the reporters are part of the problem. Reporters for CPS. I don't mean like a news reporter. There are two kinds of reporters in CPS: lay people and professionals. Now, the professionals, because of their job working with children, have to report neglect and abuse, and they have to take training for it. Those are your doctors and nurses and school teachers and counselors and administrators and nurses. It's your caregivers, policemen and firemen. Those are professionals. They're supposed to get. But so far, I've heard studies on that. They get it right 50% of the time. And lay people are your family, your friends, siblings, your neighbor, the guy at the store, the guy at the gas station. They get it right 25% of the time. And a lot of people use retaliation with it. They want to get even because their neighbor's dog is barking. So they'll say, well, that kid has a child with no supervision. They go investigate. The guy doesn't even have a child. So believe me, the reporting is really a bad aspect of CPS. See, the sad part is CPS now thinks everybody's guilty. The minute someone calls in and says, I want to report that a child is running around the neighborhood with no clothes on. Okay, there may have been a reason about that. Maybe the child got a spanking and escaped, and it was caught there, and he was taking a bath. There's some silly stuff, but it is taken seriously. It's supposed to be investigated in 24 hours, but I wish they'd spend some time to investigate to see if there have been other reports, see any backgrounds about the people they're going to investigate. Instead, they show up at the door. They grab the police, which they don't have to. The police are supposed to protect social workers. It's the only reason why police come. But CPS uses the police to create intimidation. If you open your door and bam, there's a guy in a blue uniform, shiny, with all kinds of guns and gizmos around his waist, and he's got his bulletproof vest on and his body armored, and he's got his combat boots, and he's right there with a social worker who's usually dressed pretty well with an ID tag clipped. But, the social worker will talk first, and then they'll say, can we come in? And your first answer is this a legal matter? If the answer is yes, your next thing says, I'd love to have you come to my house, but we got to set an appointment where my attorney can be present. I need to have my attorney present. It's your constitutional law. It's one thing you can learn out of this tonight is that always have an attorney present. Always have an attorney present. And I just noticed my light was turned off. Oh, boy. Sorry about that. The sun is setting in the west, and it rises in the east for me. And, okay, it's not called, no, you're confused, Cold. It's indigenous, what they call native. See, the word Indian, by the way, people didn't know where it came from. It came from Columbus, because the native islanders on that island in the Caribbean, he called them India because he thought he was at India. And the name Indian stuck because for a long time people thought he discovered North America, and he was calling the Indians on the island Indians, so they called the Native American Indians. So Aboriginal, I think, is Australia. The Aboriginals there. Now, Indigenous mean people that the first people of the area are called Indigenous. Now, there may be the word Aboriginal in LA used. I don't know. I wish you wouldn't mail me the email, so that would be good. It's very emotional to discuss this. I know it is. I know I didn't have the dollars, so I haven't relaxed out to, I haven't reached out. It's okay. I know you've been left broken, and I know how bad you feel. But I care about you, Cold, and I know what you're going through, and I'm so sorry. I am praying for you. I just keep praying and my soul barely hangs on. Please don't give up and come back to me. You found a family. You're part of my family. David knows he's family. Michael knows he's family. People that come back here and forth, Rocky, he's family. You guys all become my family, and I look after you. And I'm so glad you guys come in here tonight. And it's so nice to meet you, Cold. It really is, from Los Angeles, California. And have you heard of them going out into the community to smear your name and get you? Yeah, oh, yeah, I know retaliation. Like I can't get oh, if you have CPS in your background, you will not get hired. That's one of the reasons I have. I thought because of my old age. I thought because they didn't want a dinosaur working for them. Because my involvement with CPS is why I don't get hired. And it's hard to get a job. I'm lucky to be doing this particular live stream. I'm barely afloat on water. And right, no proof. It's a burden of proof. You know, CPS, if you're guilty, it's you that has a burden of proof to see if you're innocent. You know the difference? If you committed a crime like hold up a bank, the burden of proof is on the prosecutor. It isn't on the person that hold up the bank. And you're not guilty until you're proven guilty. You're innocent till you're proven. But in CPS, it's the other way around. The burden of proof is on you. And it shouldn't be that way. It should not be that way. Due diligence, Kofak. All right. I see that it's close to ending time. I have about 3 minutes left. I have a running time and a true time. I started the show a couple minutes late. I want to make sure you get a full 60 minutes of my talk here. People don't know what to believe. So they go with authority figures. Like I said, sure, a policeman is an authority figure. I know there are ones out there, but I don't know. It's okay. And thank you, Cold. I'll be back again. I'm not going to disappear. I did disappear for a while, but people called in to Mr. Davis, says, we need Bob back. We miss him. He talks our language. He talks our language. He helps us get an attorney. He helps our kids. We need Bob Pace back. And I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be able to help you. And I want to I got to end it because there's going to be a video that follows me. Please watch it. It'll make you feel better. Watch the video when I sign off here. Cole, Fact from Los Angeles, thank you. And God bless you. It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm going to go through all the people now that have talked here, and I'm so glad that you all did. Everything you guys said, I hope I covered. Rocky Man from New York, thank you. And I hope that you can help out, you keep helping your brother. Michael from Tennessee, a Cherokee, thank you. It's so good to talk to you. Now I go back here and see who else we got here. We got Michael's from Tennessee. Okay. David from Santa Maria, California. I am so glad you came tonight. You are great. I hope you come back more often. And I pray that soon you get your visitation with your daughter and since your case over, I hope it goes the way you want it. Believe me, Vincent will take care of you. You invested a lot of time and money into that. So I want to see that happen, David. Okay. And I'm so glad that you're here because you're adding credence to this live stream. David is one of the original people, one of the original family members who hired Vincent Davis and was successful. Jessica, I can't forget you. Jessica, I think you're from Los Angeles. I never did get it from you. You mentioned something about the LAPD. Well, no, that was Colfax. Let me see here. Where's Jessica from? She's one person that or X is Los Angeles police. Okay. Somewhere she's from California, Jessica. Thank you, Jessica, for being in here. And um, see, who else do we got? Do you got anybody else besides Jessica? I think Jessica was the first one in here. Um, I think she was. Jessica was the first one. I've covered everybody. Again, my phone number is 626 698 0990. And you can text me or call me. I can't answer during the show until I get my computer going, but I cannot answer outside of my hours. I will read your text message. If you want to be as a guest on my show, please tell me you want to be a guest. All I need is your first and last name, your location, city and state or country, and then your phone number and email. You can also do that with my email. My email is bobp@vincentwdavis.com. And so I'll be taking those down because you're going to hear this show. So I've already talked 1 hour and 1 minute. God bless you all. And so nice to see my family tonight. Sleep well. I'll see you bright and early at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. Good night.
A vivid picture is encrypted in your mind as the critics get in line like they're witnessing a crime. But then you notice there's a shiver in your spine from the feelings of discontentment and bitterness combined. Heartbroken when you listen to the judges, another kid's innocence corrupted. And if you go against it, it's destructive. Consider this predicament the toughest, but we believe in a system fit for justice. Child Protective Services only pretends to save it. The one solution for this is worthy of instant praises. 30 years of experience with relentless cases. Allow me to introduce them. This is Vincent Davis, defending you when they don't think a mother fits the role. Is it juvenile dependency or government control? Observe the pain in their eyes. It's time for us to realize we are the